This is nice and easy and simple. It's only 13 minutes long. I promise it's not going to be 30 minutes. Okay? But we have a nice, comfy, cozy watch here. It's only 13 minutes by Gen TCG. Pokemon player tries Yu-Gi-Oh! For a week. Where are they all coming from? Where are these people all coming from? Everyone's trying Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, so let's check this out.
Pokemon players and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players seem to beef with each other on Twitter every 6 months or so.
Now that you play Pokemon, you should try to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! Me trying to read a paragraph amount of words on an 8.6 centimeter by 5.9 centimeter Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusion monster.
One of the things I always see highlighted in these discussions is the fact that Pokemon is much cheaper to get into and play competitively. And I've played games like Magic in the past, and while I had a great time.
You know what's also really cheap to get into? Knitting. Knitting, actually. Knitting. How much is a beginner knitting set? But the thing is, does anyone want to really, like, start knitting? Look at that, 20 quid. That's like, what's that gonna get you? That's like a third of an Albaz. You know what I'm saying? That is hours upon hours of entertainment. You could do knitting little jackets, cute little gloves, you know? I don't know if money invested is necessarily the best comparison. But anyway, Pokemon players will always hit you with the... Bro, trust me. Pokemon... Did you know that the World Championship deck is only 20 bucks? And it's like, you know, the equivalent of like Runic Stun. But anyway.
I'm competing, it just got so freaking expensive. And I'd heard things similar about Yu-Gi-Oh! Too, about how that game was super expensive and impossible to play without, like, taking a mortgage on your house. Well, imagine my surprise when I see this tweet pop up in my feed. 30 bucks?
Fuck that guy.
Now I was a bit skeptical at first, because wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Supposed to be an expensive game too? I knew that, like, starter decks existed, but didn't those all just suck compared to what real Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like at tournaments?
Okay, I will, not to defend the big billionaire corporation, but Konami, you know, did really hit a lot of W's last year, or early this year as well, with how cheap the game was. I'm pretty sure Kevin's team that just won the YCS, they had a Mitsu player on their team, and I'm pretty sure their deck was, like, that was less than 50 bucks. Like, a YCS winning 3v3 deck that played against every freaking good player on the planet. Like, it was insane, and they managed to win the entire event. And that deck was legitimately like less than 50 bucks. Now, conversely, we're getting a Clamless, Ramless, Banless, Manless soon. I have a theory they're going to kill Mitsurugi. If they don't, the reality is all of the Blazing Dominion decks, Elf Note, what else is good? Doom Z, Cooltoon. That's not going to be cheap. That's, unfortunately, the game is going to be expensive again. The game is probably going to be expensive again. Doomsy's cheap. Okay, well, to be fair, have you seen the new Fedralis? Harmonia, what are they calling it? The hand trap? Yeah, that thing is like probably staple in every deck, and that thing is like going to be $100 each. So, not to say that you need to play with those staples, but anyway, this is just a random tangent here. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about to be more expensive than it was. Hopefully not by too much. We'll see how that actually evens out, but that card is disgusting. Anyway.
But nope, I did some follow-up research after seeing this tweet, and apparently 2 out of the 3 decks in the Legendary Modern Decks set were very tournament playable straight out of the box. And they could be easily upgraded to Tier 1 versions just by adding a few extra pieces too? Interesting. So I thought about it and debated whether I should give the box a shot. Really just for kicks and giggles, because I figured my Pokemon friends would think it's funny. I play a couple games with my homie, laugh about how absurd Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, and then go back to my merry life, right? Well, I did just that. I went to my local Best Buy and bought a box. I posted a picture of me buying the deck on my Twitter, expecting like maybe 4 or 5 of my Pokemon followers to laugh about it. I only had like 200 followers. I'm not a major content creator or famous player or anything, so no one would really care about my experiences getting into Yu-Gi-Oh!, right?
That's how few people, like, play Yu-Gi-Oh! One random Pokemon player is like, hey, I bought a legendary deck, and then every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player on the planet, all 3 of us are like, dude, you gotta play our game. It's so good. Trust me, our game is amazing. Listen, you gotta play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so good. Like, we're always like this. Every time someone looks in the general direction of Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, we're starved for new players, okay?
Well, I guess people really did care about my experience of getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I decided I couldn't let the people down. I was gonna start learning the game and taking it seriously. I downloaded Master Duel, watched.
What if it's just like 1,000 like Konami bots or something trying to get new players in? That might actually be the key here. Where are we at on the playability percentages these days? Master Duel is looking at the last in March we had an average player base of about 14,000 people. February was when did Cool Tune come out? Was it this month or this month, right? Was when we had Cool Tune. So we've had a bit of a spike over the last week. 18,000-ish? Compared to this time last year, April 2025, about 18,000. We're sort of like maintaining, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is definitely like plateaued. And we're maintaining, so yeah.
Some deck and combo guides, brushed up on how the chain works, and all that stuff. It was information
Brushed up
overload,
on
but I
the
grinded
chain.
my way
Love
through it
that.
all. I even managed to win a game on Master Duel after like 5 or 6 attempts. And let me tell you, I haven't felt that proud of accomplishing anything in a game since like when I got into Dark Souls back in 2016 and I beat some of the toughest bosses in that game.
That's a very good equivalent, actually. That's a really good comparison. Winning a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like actually is like beating Dark Souls bosses. You ever played against Cool Tune recently? Mm-hmm.
So after a few days of learning the game and talking to so many nice people on Twitter about it, I decided that I wanted to share my experience and what it's been like as a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Player in 2026. I also thought I'd share some of the similarities and differences between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon that I've noticed, at least so far.
Charizard?
Where do I even start? This game is so f***ing hard. The learning curve is insane. Wanna know how hard Pokemon is? I've taught people the complete rules of the game in under 10 minutes, including some corner cases that aren't immediately obvious too, like damage versus damage counters placed by effects of attacks. They might have a couple of reminder questions.
Hey, listen,
when
I
they're
still don't
first
understand
game,
resistance.
Like maybe how many supporters you can play, or how many items you can play in a turn,
Dreepy.
or whether you can evolve on the first turn you play a Pokemon. But generally, they'll understand the rules well enough to play in a tournament setting after like just 1 or 2 practice games. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! On the other hand, let's just say I wasn't expecting the chain to be so confusing. I played Magic.
I need to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player tries Pokemon at some point. I spent 2 hours playing Pokemon 3 years ago, and that was it. I should start fresh. That'd be pretty fun.
the Gathering.
How do you get like a deck in Pokemon online? Do you still have to use those like silly little codes or something? Is that a thing? No, I'm not gonna play Pocket. Come on, that's like saying play Duel Links. No, I'm not fucking playing Duel Links. Might as well just play like Pokemon private servers or something. Pocket is fun. No, it's not. I mean, no, I want to play the real game. TCG Live gives you enough for a new deck off of the bat. So the thing is, I won't be on a fresh account. I'll be on like a returning player account. And those are usually like the ones that game companies give you nothing for. I've got loads of code cards if you want. So you need code cards. How does it work? Is it like specific cards or is it just packs? They give you a free deck, but you need codes for the points. You still get infinite. TCG Live gives you free decks every time a set comes out. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to be my new thing to do probably next week.
Competitively in the past.
Thank you,
So
Jen,
I'm familiar
for
with the idea of
influencing
playing
me.
cards on your opponent's turn, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Kicks it up a notch with how the chain works, and how priority gets passed between players. It took a while for me to wrap my head around the various spell speeds, and I know on more than one occasion I was angry at Master Duel for skipping a chance to let me activate a monster effect. Only
It's so much easier to play Yu-Gi-Oh! As a Magic player than a Pokemon player because... How do I say this in the nicest way possible without sounding like a condescending asshole? So Yu-Gi-Oh! Lets you interact with your opponent, right? You can actually... You get to actually respond and play with your opponent. Pokemon is more like, kind of like show and tell. Because, you know, there's no hand traps, but that's the nicest way to put it.
for me to realize later that it wasn't a quick effect, so it couldn't be activated at all. This isn't even getting into more intricate stuff, like monster abilities going on a different, entirely separate chain when they're summoned from a first chain. I still haven't quite wrapped my head around that yet.
Yep, triggers will get you.
One thing that I've noticed is that out of the big 3 card games, that being Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, Magic tends to play off the top of the deck a lot more, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon tend to have a lot more tutors. I picked up and played Magic decks before without knowing any of the cards in the deck, and I've been just fine, since you're usually limited to only playing the cards from your hand onto the board. You're not really searching your deck for cards every single turn. Tutors are fun, and I do like what Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon do with them, but in my experience, having to choose a card in your deck really puts pressure on you to pick the correct card every single time. Both games have a lot of tutors, but I think where they differ is how easy or obvious the correct card choice is when it comes to using a given tutor.
Yeah, I feel like playing Pokemon is a lot harder than people like give it credit for, by the way, because yeah, mechanically it's a really simple game, but like to actually play the deck properly, like Pokemon don't you basically have full access to your deck like at any one time? And like picking the right card in the right order? I mean, you're basically just doing a combo, no? That's every card game? Well, no, because what she said about Magic is right. Like, I remember when I played Magic and I was playing the red deck, like, it wasn't like easy per se. I mean, it was easier, but it's like you only really play with what's in front of you. I don't actually remember searching the deck. Whereas in Pokemon, anytime I watch people play Pokemon, it's like fucking draw 7, Ultra Ball, add like 2, energy, equip from deck, search like another item that gets another item that searches another item, and it's like it seemed a little hectic.
For example, in
Pokemon's easy to play, but hard to play well. Yeah, I feel like I would have a lot of button click, issue if I was to play Pokemon.
If my board has
You sound like a Yugi Boober. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, there's going to be a lot of decisions involved there. Also, this guy has only said negative things today, so take one for the team, okay? Come back tomorrow.
a copy of Ralts on it, and I play an Ultra Ball, it's pretty obvious that I most likely want to
search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Why does Pokemon PSET say shuffle? Shouldn't that just be like an expectation at this point? You may play any number of item cards during your turn. So, Ultra Ball just searches a guy. Okay. How often are you going to be playing guys, though, in Pokemon? So you just, like, usually... I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's besides the point.
get a Curlia because
Only if you discard 2 other cards from your hand? Oh, shit. That's like wishes on crack.
Curlia says right on the card to evolve Ralts into it. It gets more complicated with cards like Arvin or Secret Box, which
Secret Box. You can use this card only if you discard 3 other cards. Jesus Christ. -3. Search your deck for an item, a tool, a supporter, and a state. Dude, like, how are you gonna tell me that Pokemon is easy? You could search 4 cards. Like, what? There's like so many options. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Dog, like, what is this game? Like, what? This is pick your hand, the card? Like, what is this? Loses to Ash? True. Search your deck for an item and a tool, and then put them into your deck, then shuffle your deck. Oh my god. Search a normal, an equip, and a field spell, yeah.
get multiple cards. But in general, I found that the correct card to get based on the board in Pokemon is usually at least fairly obvious. Or at the very least, even if the card you grab isn't optimal, it would have to be pretty deliberate for you to grab a completely useless card. In other words, using deck search is a skill that even brand new players can learn quickly without having to spend 2 minutes thumbing through their deck and reading each of their cards to choose the right one every single time.
Well, I guess
But my
maybe you only play
experience
like
with
one relevant
Yu-Gi-Oh
target, I
wasn't like
suppose,
this at
so.
all. The deck I decided to build on Master Duel was the Radiant Typhoon deck. And who knows, maybe it's just the deck I decided to start with, but this deck uses a ton of cards that can search out monsters that say Radiant Typhoon in their name. So when I would use a card like Radiant Typhoon Crocea, I would get like 8 different options thrown up on my screen. And since I'm new, it's not obvious which one is the best one to choose. I had to read every single card to remember what their effects even were. Was this one the monster that gets a level 4 Radiant Typhoon monster? Was this one the one that gets a spell or trap? Was this one the one that shuffles stuff on my opponent's board back into their deck? Then once I read the cards, I had to think how I wanted to play out the rest of my turn. Which Radiant Typhoon
There's
monster
a lot
do
to
I end up going
process.
for? I ended up using so much time.
You
just
say
to
like
wrap my head
haha
around the
reading, but it's like
possibilities
you're
and then
reading
figure
like
out what the best
15
option
different
even was.
individual cards,
And it doesn't
all with
even stop
restrictions,
there
activation
either.
requirements,
Once I get my engine
conditions,
pieces set up on the board,
and
I
then
had
you need
even
to do
more
all that in the right
decisions to make
order.
when
It's
it came to which
decision
extra deck
paralysis.
monster to pivot into. Do I summon Totem Bird here? Little Knight? IP Masquerena? Radiant Typhoon Vararoon? Greatfly? Wind the Wind Charmer? This stuff is probably really obvious to experienced players, but let me tell you, I literally timed out 80% of my matches when starting out because I had to spend so much time reading my cards to even try and figure out what was the correct one to play. This sort of decision paralysis
Dude, I
is
do
where
that.
stumbled the most
I've been
this
playing
week
this game
when
for
trying to learn
12
how to
years. I
actually
still
play
do that.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And
With
also,
new
as an
decks.
aside, I also played the Mitsurugi deck in paper, and let me tell you, trying to decide what to grab was so much worse with this than when I played Radiant Typhoon on Master Duel, because at least on Master Duel it filters out the valid search targets for you, and it formats the effects to be a little bit more readable. Though that being said, on the topic of spending a ton of time reading my cards, I don't want to beat a dead horse, since I know this has already been memed about to death, but oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh cards are a pain to read. This is probably the most wordy Pokemon card I can think of that sees any play right now.
Okay, let me try and break this one. Yu-Gi-Oh player rates Pokemon cards. Okay, so this is Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. Ability Punk Up. What the fuck does punking up mean? When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 energies and attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon in any way you like. Wait, what does it mean in any way you like? Shadow Bullet, 182 black energy. This attack also does 30 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Oh shit, that's basically piercing damage, right? Don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemons. Okay, so this is basically just like... This seems like a Zodiac card, right? How do you track damage to benched Pokemon? How does that work? Oh, you just put counters and dice on them, I guess? Oh, fair enough. Okay. Huh. Yeah, so I mean, they all have health points, right? So you just track it as you would anything else in a paper game. That's fair. Isn't that crazy? Do you choose what you're piercing? Just look. We use dice or a specific damage counter. Just look, I guess. Just look. Okay, what is punking up, though? Is that the name of the ability? That's just the name, right? This isn't like a mechanic. Punking up. Okay. Alright. It's like... Imagine if the Blue Eyes card said, like, White Lightning on it. Like, that's the equivalent. Or, like, Dark Magic Attack on a Dark Magician.
Its first ability is a play effect that gets up to 5 darkness energy from your deck and puts on your Pokemon that say Marnies on them.
It doesn't.
Then, it also has an attack that does 180 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon and 30 to one of the bench monsters. So it's not the simplest card out there, but because of how it separates out the ability and the attack, it's pretty easy for me to read. Now, let's compare this to a Yu-Gi-Oh card that stumped me for...
Don't show Endymion. Don't show Endymion. Don't show Endymion. Do not show Endymion. I'm gonna insta dislike and report this video if it's Endymion. Okay, please don't do the typical YouTuber thing and show Endymion.
a while. Superstar.
No. No.
Slayer
Another
Typhon.
common Typhon L.
Again, I'm not gonna harp on this too long because I know it's already been talked about to death, but like, couldn't the designers have at least...
You know what's really annoying about Typhon, by the way? Like, at its core, it is such a simple and basic card. Like, it really is. Like, it's such a easy and simple card, but like, you read it and it seems... It's like... You know those people who like try and like explain things and they over-explain and they just like repeat themselves and they go in circles? Like, that's what it's like reading Typhoon. Right? Because it is a really fucking basic card, but it just reads like the most complicated shit ever. You know? I don't know. I don't know how you fix that in Yu-Gi-Oh! I really don't know how you fix that. Like, reading cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! is such a stressor and such a... Like, there's just so much fluff here, right? Like, there's so much fluff, like, words in this. You know? You can also exceed this card by using a monster you control with the highest attack. Your choice if tied. Transfer its materials. Like, there's 2 parentheses back to back. Like, that's actually, like, so ludicrous.
to put line breaks or bullet points or
You would need to fix English? Oh yeah? Well, explain Punk Up. Why is this card so easy to read, right?
something to separate out these abilities. I know math.
And like, in Master Duel, by the way, it's so much easier because in Master Duel actually like splits up the card text. Like, look at the card text here as an example. Like, literally, like, paragraph, new paragraph, new paragraph. 3 card effects, but if you read the physical artwork, it's just a big mush of word soup. Look at that, just a box, like a perfect rectangle of just words. But on Master Duel, it's like so much easier because it like spaces everything out. They could do that in paper, theoretically, but then they'd have to drop the font size from... Gosh, what is the official font size in Yu-Gi-Oh cards? It must be like 11? 10? Like 10 or 11? It would have to be like 8 or some shit if they were to like make new paragraphs, you know?
Duel does this, and I'm also aware that in Asia they number out the abilities on physical cards, but it still sucks.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, even in NoCG, they don't take new paragraphs. They just put a number there. Like, that is holy. Easiest thing to like fix the game. Genuinely, is like the first step they should do on new cards is just start numbering effects.
Playing them in paper in the US. The first deck I played was the Mitsurugi deck that came with the Legendary Modern Decks collection.
How good is that deck, by the way? Legendary, modern deck, Mitsurugi. Like, what do you get here? Really? You get all of this? This is just 30 bucks and you get 2 other decks as well? This is unbelievably good. You can probably top local. Bro, you can win locals with this. What are you saying? Like, this is crazy fucked. They're just gonna make more of these things, honestly. Like, once every couple of formats, like, just print a banger product like that. Just, literally just all you need to do is just take the last, like, 2 or 3 decks of the format and then put them in a product or structure deck, like, 6 months after release. Like, imagine, I don't know, in August this year, they just make a legendary deck and it just has, like, Elf Note, Doomsday, Archmage. Literally just all the fucking, what are they called? Power Patron archetypes or something? Just put them all into, like, one legendary deck and, like, that'd be sick.
And oh my god, this product wasn't made for brand new players at all, was it? To help you understand where I'm coming from, because this might sound ridiculous to you guys that I bought a structure deck like this to start with, let me tell you about how Pokemon...
August is... Oh, they already have announced the next ones? Oddeye, Speedroid, and Lunalight. Well, it's a shame they're not, like, meta. But they did announce that there's going to be support for those, right? So they might be meta?
Does it. Pokemon has introductory decks called League Battle decks. These are generally ever so slightly simplified, yet tier 1 archetypes that are designed for new players to buy and get into competitive Pokemon with.
Yeah, I did read the
Pokemon
descriptions. We don't have
whenever
card
a new
text
player
yet,
joins
but
the scene,
they
it's
do seem
very
decent.
common advice to just tell them, hey, go buy one of the League Battle decks, play it at a few tournaments, and then upgrade it whenever you feel ready. And this is very good advice, mind you. 3 of the latest of the decks are based around Dragapult, Gardevoir, and Charizard, which have all won major tournaments in the last year.
chest!
So players will pick up the decks, get a feel for how the tier 1 archetype works at its core, and then upgrade it with more optimized tutors and tech cards and the like. It's overall a fantastic experience for new players, since the decks are pretty easy to play at a basic level. I know a ton of people who've gone this
Come and get you?
experience for new players.
Put up to 3 Duskull from your discard pile into your bench. Wait, this is a floater. Right? So how do you lose in Pokemon by losing your bench, right? So this guy just puts 3 of them back into your bench? It's basically just stalling, right? You don't really want to do this? Wrong. Wait, is that not how it works? Oh, it's prize cards. Oh. Or they take all 6 prizes. I see. How does prizes work again? You just banish the top X cards of your deck. And then every time your opponent does direct damage to you, I believe, they take a prize or something, right? Is how that works? Oh, it's been a while. Anyway, we'll learn when we get there next week. I've already decided. Just mid-video, I've decided I'm playing Pokemon next week.
Since the decks are pretty easy to play at a basic level.
But a
I know
monster
a ton
dies,
of people
okay.
who've gone this route and then
It's not dying, it's knocking out, okay? Please keep it PG friendly, thank you.
become entrenched Pokemon players. Heck, this is how I got into Pokemon in the first place. I bought a Charizard League Battle deck back in late 2024, and then fell in love with the game soon after.
I put mine down if they lose. I delete them from my in-game Pokemon client, actually. I make sure I pick up my Nintendo DS, I log into the game, and I go and I release them into the wild if they die, because they're worthless.
So I was expecting
Sorry, that was mean.
something similar in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll fully admit, maybe this one is on me. Maybe there is a product out there that really is both ready to play at tournaments and yet still easy for beginners to pick up the game and learn it with. But in my opinion, the legendary modern decks were absolutely not made for beginners. At least not for beginners who didn't want to be chucked straight into the deep end of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pool. I absolutely
This is a really bad deck to learn with. This is a great intermediate deck. Right? This is a fantastic middle ground. But this is not a new player deck. What's a good deck then? I don't know. You need something really straightforward. I'm trying to think of like the easiest, somewhat competent Yu-Gi-Oh decks that you could play. Invoked for Fusion, Sword Soul for Synchro, Zodiac for Xyz? Something like that could work. Like a really basic deck, like, you know? Dix. No, DDD is... That's a deck you give someone to quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, we're talking like someone who's going to the shop and has never touched a Yu-Gi-Oh card before. This is like, you're not doing that with Mitsurugi. You will quit the game if you play like a game of Yu-Gi-Oh with Mitsurugi for the first time ever. This is a great, like, okay, I know the rules, I know how phases work, and I've watched like a YouTube. Oh god, even then it's like, so the biggest problem with and I don't know if it's like a problem per se, because I discussed this with Elsie in the Magic discussion video, if you guys watched that, where Yu-Gi-Oh is just fundamentally and objectively not very good at onboarding. And what that means is like bringing new players into the fold of like playing the actual competitive game, right? Because you can read and understand every single Mitsu card here, but you don't know how to activate them in the right order, right? That is a process that will take you hours to really come up with by yourself. Or you can shorten that journey significantly by Googling, right? But that's kind of an inherent problem, some people would argue, because a lot of people love to argue and say, well, why should you need a third-party resource to learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh? And it's like, personally, I think that's a bad argument. I think learning anything at an optimized level in any game requires third-party resources. But yeah, you will unironically have to go to, you know, and then do this, and then, right?
For the main combo.
And then that will teach you how to actually, like, play the deck properly. Then you can jump into, like, playing the game, right? You know what I'm saying? Third-party resource needed for every TCG. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, the closest one that doesn't is, like, probably Pokemon, right? You could probably teach yourself, literally just teach yourself how a deck works by, like, without any third-party resources. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, I just don't see how you're learning Mitsu by yourself without consulting help.
We could not pick up and play the deck. I had to ask so many questions to the poor guy I was playing with. I felt so bad for him. If I told a person who's never played a card game before to start with the legendary modern decks, 9 out of 10 times they would get so frustrated at the complexity and probably just bounce off of Yu-Gi-Oh entirely. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing the product itself. I think the Dex collection is a fantastic product and I'm still so happy I bought it. I think I'll most likely be upgrading the Mitsurugi deck if I move to a place that has a strong in-person Yu-Gi-Oh scene, but it absolutely was not a pick up and play experience for beginners. And unless there actually is a product that does this well that's also tournament viable, then I think it's a bit of a shame that there's no...
God, what was the name of that thing that flopped so fucking hard? And I've never heard anyone talk about it since. What was that roleplay fucking product they made? The 2-player starter kit, yeah. This thing. This is technically what you're supposed to give someone to, like, this is a pick up and play deck. Right? But even then, it's like, can I find, like, a deck list somewhere? 2-player. I just want to see, like, all the cards on the screen. I usually go to yugioh Pro Deck for that. Argos? That's funny. Oh, the hell? What is this from? I mean, but unironically, like, this is what you should start playing Yu-Gi-Oh with. Like, this is a... I don't know what a phase is Yu-Gi-Oh deck, right? Like, this is I'm going to learn how to normal summon deck. Too old? Well, how are you... Like, you really, like, are overestimating how complicated or how high of a learning curve it is, because every single piece of Yu-Gi-Oh game mechanic is simple at a core level, but when you compound it 1,000 times with other mechanics and card effects, etc., it is so difficult. Like, yeah, resolving a Typhon and summoning a Typhon is so easy and simple, but you're combining that with, like, literally 50 other card effects in your deck. It's like all of that you have to learn, you have to read, memorize, and just know and process. Like, that's... I feel like vanilla beatdown is how you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So...
no good equivalent to Pokemon's League Battle decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! I could make an entire video about Pokemon TCG Live, which is Pokemon's digital client. It's pretty notorious in the Pokemon community for being bare bones, buggy, and overall just kind of ugly to look at. But on the bright side, it is by far the most
Pokemon players are so mean to Pokemon TCG Live, by the way. This was fine. This was fine. I don't... People, like, I've heard people say, like, it's worse than Dueling Book. Like, come on, it's not that bad. Like, alright, it's not Master Duel, but it's not that bad.
most generous digital card game I've ever played. Even more so than Legends of Runeterra, if any of you guys played that. Rest in peace, Legends of Runeterra PvP. I've played Pokemon TCG Live off
It's an
and on
auto
for
sim with
about a year and
infinite
a half,
bugs, which are
but
never
I have
fixed.
so much digital currency that I can literally
I mean, I'm not
craft
enough
every
of a
single
Pokemon player
relevant
to
deck
know
in
if the
format,
bugs are
like 10
that
times
bad or not,
over.
but
I'm never
I
going to
don't
run
know.
out of crafting materials. In fact, it's physically impossible to spend money in Pokemon TCG Live. This game exists to be a companion to paper cards, instead of a vehicle for Pokemon to make money off of. On the other hand, Master Duel seems to me like it's the complete opposite of Pokemon's digital client. It has pop-in animations for boss monsters when you summon them, it has cool sound effects, the cards look modern, the animations are sleek, and it's generally just a pretty enjoyable experience to play. But, and I might ruffle some feathers when I say this, but I do have to say it, the economy is just not nearly as good as the Pokemon TCG Live economy. Pokemon TCG Live gives you tons of starter decks completely for free, and many of these need very little dust to craft into tournament-winning versions. Yu-Gi-Oh! Seemed to shower me in
I mean, Pokemon TCG is very cheap because, I mean, I guess it's not supposed to be its own, like, revenue-generating game, right? I think it's kind of like, that's why they don't care about it. That's why they don't fix any of the bugs, because they've got, like, one guy in the entire office of tens of thousands of employees maintaining the game himself or some shit. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you were to say, like, TCG Pokemon is definitely cheaper.
gems really early on when creating my account, but once I used these gems to buy the selection packs I thought were the best, it got so much more stingy. It seems like they really want you to spend money on the game, and I've had to get used to the change from being spoiled by Pokemon to having to save up cards to dust in Master Duel. I still haven't even finished my Radiant Typhoon deck, since I'm missing some key staples I want to run, like Called by the Grave and Moltarmi Fualos. Another thing that's annoyed me a bit, those League Battle decks I've been talking about previously, well, in paper Pokemon TCG, whenever you buy anything physically, whether it be a pack or a precon, it always comes with a QR code you can scan in Pokemon TCG
Leaked.
Live to get a digital version of. In other words, when you buy a League Battle deck online or at your local game store, you get a free copy to mess around with in PTCGL as well. I was disappointed when I learned that in Master Duel didn't have this feature at all. I was hoping to get Mitsurugi practice in Master Duel, since I thought the deck was really fun in paper, but alas, that wasn't really.
I think it's really funny that Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to have this like 15 years ago in Tag Force. On the old PSP games, you could literally put codes in, and they just didn't incorporate that into Master Duel. I remember the very first earliest discussions and debates and pain points and stressors and that we used to talk about before when Master Duel was announced was what the hell was the payment structure going to be like? Because how do you introduce 20 years worth of cards all at once to an online client and make it all available? Do you make each card cost money? Do you make like individual archetype packs? Like, how do you do that, you know? And I will say, they completely nailed it. Remember when we thought it might be a subscription service? Yep. All sorts of theories were thrown around. And, you know, it all worked out, genuinely. It is genuinely really good and amazing how Master Duel's monetization is. I will always defend Konami for this. I'm sorry, you know, call me a shill or whatever, but I think it is incredibly, incredibly good and generous. Obviously, you need to kind of get some, you know, as a new player, you might make a lot of very expensive mistakes, but for the most part, it's very good.
Possible.
No, it sucks.
So overall, after spending 1 week playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, what are my thoughts? Well, I think it's a great game. It definitely lives up to its reputation of being super difficult to learn, much more so than any other card game I've played. I think if they wanted to, Konami could simplify the effects of new cards to make it easier for people to get into the game, but I think reducing
then the new cards
complexity
would be
also
worse
cut
if they
down
had
on some
simpler
gameplay
effects.
intricacies that I know
Then they
I'd
wouldn't make
enjoy
money.
once I managed to wrap my head around them. I do think there are some improvements that could be made to the layout of the cards to help them be easier to read, but in my opinion, a lot of the complexity of reading cards is also just because of the way that Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are designed. And I do think that Master Duel gets a lot right in terms of how it feels to play, but I can confidently say that I hate how its economy is set up. So what's next for me? Well, I plan on playing this game even more. I really want to try going to some local tournaments, since I found that locals are the best way to improve at card games while making some new friends too. And who knows, eventually I might make it out to a YCS at some point. I've been to 4 Pokemon regionals, which are roughly the equivalent of YCSs, and they've all been a ton of fun. I'd be curious to see what the differences between Pokemon regionals and Yu-Gi-Oh! YCSs are. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is my first YouTube video I've ever made, and so let me know what your thoughts are. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed my content. I might make future videos, who knows. Until then, I will see you all later.
Well, that could have went a lot worse for for the old Yugi gamers.
What if we just say
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing like
playing Beyblade
out of the ordinary there in
It's
terms
not
of
an
a
expensive
crazy complaint or
investment,
something.
it's
It's always
every
like the
player
same
can
thing that
play
people say whenever they
because
try
you
the game,
don't
right?
need
They
to
need
read
to
free
they need to fix like the card
Zero.
legibility. They need to fix like the onboard. Okay, so not necessarily the onboarding of how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but at least in Master Duel specifically, how to spend your gems, because that is a that's a yeah, that you're gonna have to get a lot of help understanding what to do with your gems. So, you know, it's gotten better. I didn't realize just how good the legendary decks were. Okay, not this one, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's the video. Subscribe to Jen. Thank you.